Hey, this is Kenny Mayne. This is not my podcast. I'm just the introductory voice doing a favor for an old friend. He somehow thinks this is going to help his success. We'll find out. I sure hope so, though, because I've known Keith Simons since we were like 10 or 11 years old. We played boys club football together back in Featherway, Washington. Then we played against each other in junior high and high school. He went on to college. I went on to college. He went on to coach college and then tutor quarterbacks pretty much the rest of his life. And he got so deep and nerdy into the art of quarterbacking that he decided to start a podcast called QB Unfiltered. There will be far better quarterbacks than I as guests on this show, but I'm just here to say, listen, you might learn something.
This is QB Unfiltered. I'm Coach Keith Simons. It's Workday Wednesday, constructing the quarterback. Tonight, just a couple of do's and don'ts with coaching your QB. Let's start with practice. Okay, in practice, it is imperative that you put your quarterback in the same environment all week long that he's going to be in on game day. The same environment. And what I mean by that is how you coach him and where you coach him during the week of practice needs to be exactly like it is on game day. And here's an example of what I'm talking about. This happens a lot across America at the high school level and the college level, where in practice, you'll see the quarterback coach out on the field in team drills or group work, such as 7-on-7, blitz pickup, team period. The quarterback coach will be standing, 8 yards behind the running back and the quarterback on the field, right behind the offense. The problem with that is that's an unrealistic environment for your QB and for you, the quarterback coach, because there's a major difference in you coaching him standing right behind him and you coaching him from the sideline where you're going to be doing it on game day. And there's a major difference for him being coached by you standing on the sideline, the distance between him and you on the sideline, where a lot more hand signals are going to come into play, where he's not going to be able to hear you as well, see you as well, but he still has to get all the same information. Okay, so you standing on the field in practice behind him becomes a security blanket for the QB. And the worst thing that you can do as a quarterback coach is to practice one way with your quarterback all week long and have him go into a completely different environment on game day. Just doesn't make any sense. Coach your quarterback from the sideline in practice and stand on the sideline in the same spot you're going to be standing during the games. So back when I coached, I always stood behind the offense. So when I'm on the sideline, I was about maybe 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. That way I could see through the quarterback, through the offensive line and receivers, and get a good look on the defense, all 11 guys defensively. But my QB always knew where he could find me because I was always in that same spot during the week of practice. Okay. And coaching from the sideline, that was in group work and teamwork. So at the beginning of practice, when we had individual period and warm up, I was on the field, hands-on stuff, working with my quarterbacks. And then I moved to the sideline for the rest of practice and all those other drills. Now, if I needed to coach my starter up and I'm on the sideline, I don't stop practice and walk out on the field and talk to him. I take him out of the drill. I put my backup quarterback in. We continue to do the no huddle tempo. Okay. And I continue to wag plays in to my number 2 quarterback on the field as I'm coaching up my starter now standing right next to me. Okay, now in regards to your number 2 quarterback, you have to keep these guys involved with what's going on mentally. Okay, remember your backup quarterback's one play away from being your starter. Okay, so he has to be involved in what's going on. So with the no huddle, I had my running back coach and my receiver coach on the sideline with me, and they were dummy signalers. Or if we changed it up and one of them was a hot signaler, then I became a dummy signaler. But we had 3 coaches signaling, and my quarterback was standing right next to me. If my starter was in there, it was my number 2 guy was right next to me. If it was my number 2 guy playing, my starter was right next to me, and that never changed. Okay, so the reason I did that is while my starter's out there in a game playing in quality time, I've got my number 2 guy standing right next to me that I can talk him through situations that we're seeing right in front of him that the number 1 guy's going through. That's just an invaluable way to coach your number 2 guy up. And I knew that because he had to signal, even if it was dummy signals, he was still engaged mentally with what was going on in the game. He wasn't down the sideline playing grab ass with his teammates or looking in the stands blowing kisses to his girlfriend. Okay, keep your number 2 quarterback engaged, and you're always coaching him up. Okay, that leads me to my second do's and don'ts, and this is a don't. Don't fill your quarterback's head up with unnecessary information on game night. Okay, I've always had the philosophy that if you coach your guy up during the week, you don't have to say a damn thing to him on game day. If you do a great job coaching him during the week, on game day, you just turn him loose and let him go do his thing. But coaches fall into a trap with quarterbacks in that they think every time they come off the field after a series, the coach has got to talk to them. You know, and usually it's just unnecessary stuff. Okay, your quarterback, you don't have to ask your quarterback what coverage he saw out there. You know what he saw based on who he's going to in your passing game. He knows what he saw because of how you coached him up during the week of practice. Okay, the only time that you should be talking with your quarterback when he comes off the field is if you've prepared for a defensive look all week in practice and they came out in the game and ran something goofy against you that you hadn't prepared for. Then you need to grab your starter and get that chalked up so that he's on the same page and he knows what he's looking at. Other than that, just let him play. Okay? If he needs to ask you questions, he'll ask you questions. But the only thing you should say to your quarterback, if it's not, chalking up something that they hadn't shown all week or on film that you hadn't prepared for all week in practice, the only thing you should say to your quarterback is shake his hand after he comes off the field after throwing a touchdown pass and say, nice job. And that's it. Okay, the last do's and don'ts, and this is another don't. Don't let other people talk to your quarterback. And I'm talking about coaches here. You, the quarterback coach, are the only coach that talks to your QB. That's it. That is a firm rule, and it's unnegotiable. Offensive line coaches are the worst for whatever reason. For whatever reason, offensive line coaches think that they are qualified to talk to the starting quarterback when he's on the sideline about what's going on out there on the field. No, don't let it happen. It doesn't happen. Now, your receiver coach, who's going to have a tremendous understanding of your passing game, and he's going to know your quarterback's read progressions on your concepts, and he can have a conversation with his receivers about that stuff, but not your quarterback. Your receiver coach is not going to present stuff to the QB the way you will. That's why your quarterback hears one voice. one voice in his ear, always, and that's you. Okay, that's a big one right there. So those are 3 do's and don'ts in coaching your QBs. This is QB Unfiltered. And remember, as always, throw the ball short to guys who can score. See ya.